doing, James? I am getting ready to leave the Flying J in Kingman. And basically finish up my shift. I was kind of hoping I'd get to Winslow, but I don't have enough time to get all the way there, so. And I want to get a shower, so. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, I want to make sure I get a chance to get a shower at my next stop. So, since I can't reach the Flying J in Winslow, I'm going to go ahead and end my shift in Bellemont. Got the pilot there. Assuming I can find somewhere to park. I should be able to. This is 3597 Bravo. See that 104, just didn't have a letter on it. Alright, got a green light here, so should be moving in a second. I talked to him yesterday too, and he kind of told me about what happened there. Yeah, you're not crossing the street illegally. Hey, Tom. Yeah, definitely different weather today than it was when I came through here. What was that, 2 days ago? Almost feels like it was just yesterday I came through here, but that was actually 2 days ago. And the electronic signs here on the I-40 are actually saying there's a winter storm warning for tomorrow and Thursday. This will be a relatively shorter feed here. It's got on the right side coming by. No need to be concerned about it. There's plenty of space there. Anyway, yeah, Bellemont's only 130, just over 130 miles away. Here's this, 3448, I think it said. So it'll only be about a roughly 2-hour trip. There have been some developments with this load. I'll give you that detail in a second. surprised by. I do not have enough hours to work with to get the load all the way to Florida myself. My DM was saying her system was projecting me to not be in Florida, or the receiver in Florida, until I think early on the 25th, the day after it's due, basically, because I just don't have hours available. So they needed a swap. And I was thinking, well, if I'm low on hours and I'm going to end up possibly doing a 34-hour reset anyway, I think I'd rather just do a reset at home. I don't, you know, and they got me set up with a swap in Gallup tomorrow for a load that's going to Tolleson, Arizona. And I was kind of concerned about it. It's like, well, that's still going to leave probably a good 10, 11 hours left on my clock by the time I get through delivering in Tolleson. And if I'm still going to end up having a time where I could, you know, I'll have to sit under a load or whatever, but kind of waiting for recaps to come in, I think I'd rather just swap further out somewhere, like maybe closer to Albuquerque for a load going to California. And then I could use up, because if I could get all the way, get somewhere closer to Albuquerque, it would make more full use of my own clock. And then that way when I do a 34-hour reset, if I need one, or if I get to that point where, you know, then I can go ahead and do it at home instead of somewhere else. So, but it turns out it's going to work out. I'm going to swap in Tolleson, I mean not Tolleson, but Gallup tomorrow. I don't know what time yet, but it'll be sometime tomorrow. And then I'm going to take that load and deliver it in Tolleson. And then, or actually not deliver it, I'm actually going to take it to Tolleson and give it to another driver. The other driver's, I guess, going to California, to Fontana. And he's trying to get home to Florida for Thanksgiving. And so now, if he delivers that load in Tolleson, he'll be able to get a reload there in Tolleson that'll get him to Florida. So, ends up fixing a bunch of problems there. This guy behind me, he's got better climbing power than I do, so I'm going to stay here behind FedEx. Originally, I only stayed back here to let the four-wheelers go by, but going up the hill, too, I'm going to lose speed. This is a guy who went into the barrel. Not getting any further than FedEx, and I'm gonna have to back off just so he can vacate the lane and the four-wheelers can go by. Would have been better off just throttling back like I did and waited, well, and wait, whatever. Palm Beach, Florida area. But I'll be swapping loads tomorrow in Gallup, New Mexico. And taking that to Tolleson. And I'm going to swap that one also for basically give it to a guy who's going to deliver it, and then he's going to get a reload going to Florida to get him home. And I'm going to take his load to Fontana, which will actually get me home. So if I have to do a 34-hour 69 degrees here right now. You notice it's more overcast than it was a couple days ago. And in fact, there's a winter storm warning here for tomorrow and Thursday. The feed earlier because middle of the night usually people are sleeping and it's harder to see anything of use. And then when I ended up stopping in Barstow for a 30-minute break, met up with my wife and one of her daughters, actually both of our daughters, and as well as my parents for a quick little bite. And between there and Kingman, I was chit-chatting on the phone with a friend of mine who drives for us, so I just run the feed on one part where I don't have other stuff going on. Oh yeah, speaking of weather over there, you guys, in the UK, now, right here, when I was just in the Flying J going to use the restroom, after I got through getting my fuel, the TV in the truckers' lounge was showing something about snowflakes in England. I don't know how often that's a thing there. I'd go skiing at, they weren't that high at ski resorts. 27 Fahrenheit now, which is, for those of you guys in the UK, it's about 13 and a half degrees, somewhere around there. 13, 14, somewhere in that ballpark. Definitely looks like UK weather here. At least every time I've been to England, or England specifically, they always seem to look like this. Okay, it won't be too much longer. We're gonna get into the dead zone, so expect the buffering, whatever. Some rain recently. See, out here the sign says winter storm. Expect snow and ice Wednesday and Thursday. And of course I'll be having to go through, come back toward Flagstaff and then back down with that other load. Charlie, you live in Jackson? Interesting. This load here, if I'd been able to take it all the way to Palm Beach myself, I was actually going to be going right through Jackson. So my plan was to go down 287 from Amarillo to Dallas Fort Worth, and down and then across 20 from there to Jackson, and then take US 49 and US 98 over to Mobile. Then it was going to take 10 across to I-75, 75 down to the Florida Turnpike, and then Turnpike all the way down to Palm Beach area. So if the other driver does the same thing, same route that I was going to be doing, this trailer that's behind me will still be going right through your area. Right here, I'm going to back it off some more. Still have all that construction going on there on 49. See what's going on with that thing now. The blade is flopping, basically it's tilting from one side to the other. So it's like it doesn't stay solidly on the wiper arm. It's like it tilts every time. Like the arm moves more than the blade does. replace the blade too. So it seems to do fine with keeping the windshield clean. Is the driver's side. Basically, it's almost like it's on a hinge or something, where the blade moves less than the wiper arm actually does. I'll take a closer look at it when I stop now, just now that I realize that that's what's going on. I thought it was just hitting the 8-pillar. Yeah, it is another way that I've gone to. It's a little bit longer route, but it does avoid all the traffic lights and construction crap over there between Jackson and other town off of what's that, 59 or whatever. Starts with an H. Over in Alabama. I always forget the name of that town down there. We're kind of over by where 49 and 98 are at, if I remember right. Yeah, Hattiesburg. I can tell the passengers' wipers a lot more quiet. Finally free America. In front of this RV that's passing me. Adam Kokesh for president. So I don't follow politics. Who is Adam Kokesh? The only one who can't figure that out. Yeah. Funny exit to get to it from I-55. Ask me how I know that. Coming up I-55, because there have been a couple times where I pick up loads down in Hazelhurst. And when I do pick those loads up, I usually come up to Jackson to scale the load. And the first time I tried to go there, I was decided I was going to stop at the Pilot. I figured I'd go east on 20 and get off at the first exit instead of taking the surface street around like I could have also. And then I find out the hard way that the actual exit you need to get to where the Pilot is on the left side. outside of 55 right before you get to 20. Got a hill coming up. Kind of expected I'll lose more momentum than this guy going up the hill. Yeah, when I ended up overshooting the pilot, I ended up getting off at the next exit over there where Loves and Flying J are at it, and I think I ended up stopping at Big Loves. The Dansby Pass wasn't excessively heavy, but you know, I got down enough where I could I had to do like 31, 32 miles an hour up that grade, or those grades. Sporadic, where spots where I'm not getting anything at all, and in other spots where I am. Well, not to mention with the road being kind of damp, some of what I'm picking up is probably coming off the tires of the trucks in front of me. Chance to see what all went on with Scotty. I know he had it really early, so I don't know what was going on. Miles out donuts? Never. Carl must have baited him, right? Outside temp right here right now is 55 Fahrenheit. Or about 12 and a half, 13 degrees Celsius. Yeah, I remember Carl was eating donuts in front of us on his feed, was it yesterday or day before? Pulled on me last time we're going downhill, so hang out behind him because I know he'll probably pull on me again. Storm watch, where does that go to? Well, because I keep seeing messages on the digital signs saying to expect snow and ice tomorrow on Thursday. there, cell tower, I think. It's hard to tell, but yeah, it's got a real one back there. Keeps giving me a vibration. I think it's the trailer tires. I haven't been able to find any problems with any tires that might explain it. To go around here unless you're intentionally. Alright, when you're gonna hang out back there, I get to go in front of you. 52, 53 degrees now, about 11 Celsius. Last night, and it's more left turns than right. Stuff.
If I went in the house and he asked what had.
I'm going to the top of that one. Oh, savage revenge.
I don't know that this was savage, but it was entertaining. I had gotten married very young and my husband at the time was a horrible liar and cheat. We were renting a house in the same block as my parents, and one day he had come home from work early and shortly after the phone went on the fritz. This was before cell phones. I needed to make a call, so I went up the street to my parents' house. About 5 minutes after I got there, a female called and asked for me. She explained that she was my husband's fiancée and wanted to talk with me about why I was making our divorce so difficult and refusing to let him see our daughter. It turns out that she had somehow managed to get my home phone number, which is why hubby came home early and sabotaged the phone line. What he didn't know was that she had gotten my parents' number as well. She and I had a nice long conversation about what was really going on and devised a little plan. I borrowed a screwdriver from my parents and went home, but before going in I let the air out of all his tires just to ensure that he couldn't leave. At the time, hubby was a carpenter and he badly wanted to start his own company but needed a partner. He then tried K views, view 11.7K upvoters, view sharers, answer requested by Sean Kernan. In other languages. En español, respuesta de Kevin Machado a cuál es la venganza más salvaje que has visto que alguien se enfrente a su ex. Open an app. About careers, privacy, terms, contact. Article 103 of 169. Answer, Quora. Quora. Open an app, sign in. What have you heard accidentally after someone thought their phone call with you was over? Kyono J. Curtin, kindergarten graduate. Updated September 10, 2019. Upvoted by Sarang Rout, business analyst at Extentia, Mobile, Cloud and Design, 20. Author has 75 answers and 415.9K answer views. I was calling my close friend and neighbor to tell her that her car alarm was going off for the 5th time that night. I knew she was aware, but me, being the good friend I am, wanted to call just to tease her. She scoffed, then joked. My finger lingered on the hang-up button, but thankfully, I didn't press it. My neighbor turned to her twin brother, said something along the lines of, "God, I'm going to miss her so much." It was small, and probably meaningless to anyone else, but it made me smile and warmed my heart. Some people will try to act like they don't care, but there's love to be found everywhere. Edit the 10th of September 19, I'm glad I was able to share some positivity around here. Now that I've actually left for school, looking back at this post brings a smile to my face. Don't worry, we're still friends. We both cried when I left. I'm glad this answer aged well, smiley face. 274.7k views, view 18.1k upvoters, view sharers. Open an app. About careers, privacy terms, contact. Article 104 of 169. There's work to be done. Clint Eastwood refuses to leave movie set during Hollywood wildfire. Men'sJournal.com, yesterday. Clint Eastwood's dedication knows no bounds. Case in point, the 89-year-old filmmaker continued to churn away on his upcoming movie, Richard Jewell, on the Warner Brothers
Yeah, it's hard to believe he's that old
studio
now.
lot despite the proximity of the recent Barham fire. Editors note, if firefighters advise you to leave, regardless of where you are, according to his son Scott Eastwood. My 89-year-old father said, "No, we're good, there's work to be done." Then we went into the mixing stage and all watched his new movie at Richard Jewell film, as he would say, get back to work and shut up. True story. By the way, it was a Saturday. Here's Eastwood's Instagram post. Eastwood's new film is about the true life story of Richard Jewell, who was thrust into the spotlight after discovering the bomb that was planted at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. Paul Walter Hauser stars as Jewell, Sam Rockwell plays the lawyer who defended him, and the film also stars John Hamm, Olivia Wilde, and Kathy Bates. Richard Jewell will be released on December 13, 2019. For access to exclusive gear videos, Article 105 of 169. Answer, Quora. Quora. Open an app, sign in. What is the strangest way you found out your significant other was cheating on you? Alexander Porter, serial dater, 60+ Tinder dates, 8+ years of relationships. Answered May 23, 2019. Author has 191 answers and 22.9 meters answer views. A doctor told me my girlfriend was cheating on me. And my girlfriend was sitting right next to him when he said it. I still look back on that day and think, man, you should have taken some of those free health bars they were offering at reception, those motherfuckers look delicious. I'd been waiting in the waiting room, which might have something to do with the name now that I say it out loud. I'd been in the same doctor's office the week prior getting my own test results. I got the all clear across the board. No cancer, always a highlight after my brush with leukemia, and no STDs. But, somewhat annoyingly, no developing superpowers either. Ah well, can't
Really,
win
you
them
don't
all.
really have to do that.
My
dude.
girlfriend of over 2 years was going in for her checkup this time. Again, no major reason.
Get more space.
You
in
just
that.
have to look after
Those are
your
just
health
the
when you're
other-
in your
that's
early
the other
20s,
truck, too.
drinking too much, sleeping too little, and generally giving the middle finger to a balanced diet. So I was a little surprised when she popped out of the room and very quietly wandered over to me, leaning down with a soft, "The doctor wants to talk to you." Following her into the small, sterile room, I took a seat in what was possibly the world's most uncomfortable chair, both physically and metaphorically. "I've just told your partner that she has chlamydia," the doctor said with the type of poker face that would win awards. Seriously, I'm the type of person who laughs when things get awkward. You don't want to giggle when you tell someone you'll be amputating a foot. In
Yes.
fact, that's the main reason I'm not a doctor. That and I have the IQ of a door. Imagine that
What?
room. You could cut the silence with a fork. I don't use knives, I use the side of a fork. It saves washing up. All the while my girlfriend sat there staring at the floor while a kind-eyed doctor peered over his glasses and through his poker face, waiting for me to speak. "I understand," I replied, not understanding at all. Everything was a blur from there. The doctor was gentle and empathetic but also aloof. He didn't offer more than the facts, the antibiotics for her to take, the timeline of recovery, safe sex tips for the future. His poker face remained. We left his office together in silence not long after, my mind whirring at the possibilities.
Is that,
Trying to wrap my head around what this
stoic?
meant. And my
Isn't that a way
girlfriend,
to
she
describe
came
that?
at me hard and fast. She told me, Alex, I know what you're thinking, but I didn't cheat on you. I know where I got this from. I went to a rave in the woods just before we met and slept with a guy. It was unprotected, but I was alone and felt scared, and I know he gave it to me. I'm sorry. What would you do, Florence, if you were in my shoes? As for me, I did what felt right. I accepted her story. I got on with making the best of our relationship. I chose to forgive and forget. Fast forward a little over 2 years. By now she was gone. I'd caught her cheating on me with a regular from the bar she worked at. Our 4+ year relationship was over. As a now single guy crushing it on the single scene, definitely not crushing it on the single scene, I went for a routine health checkup. The results were fine, of course, just as I knew they would be. But as I sat in that same doctor's office, speaking to that same doctor, over 2 years later, I just had to ask. Mate, this might seem off topic, but could a woman have chlamydia for over 2 years and not know it? He nodded. It's possible, he replied objectively and with poker face in play. Chlamydia is typically asymptomatic in women. So I pressed on.
Didn't know that.
What if that woman was having unprotected sex with her boyfriend for 2 years? Is there any chance she wouldn't pass him? No, he replied, his legendary poker face almost cracking like he'd been holding the world's greatest secret. Almost zero chance. And that's how a doctor told me my significant other had cheated on me 2 years ago. Then, the same doctor told me again 2 years later. Then it was time for single life. Starting with a girl who said I looked exactly like her brother. 894.2k views, view 8k upvoters, view sharers. Open an app.
I might get
About
some more
careers,
interesting
privacy,
weather here
terms,
tomorrow
contact.
after I do the swamp.
Article 106 of 169. Answer, Quora. Quora. Open an app, sign in. Therapists, what's the most disturbing thing a patient has disclosed to you? David Price, psychologist, PhD, sex therapy. Answered November 12, 2019, upvoted by Ledla Gonalo TL Habano, Assistant Professor of Internal Medicine, Wake Forest UNM, author has 92 answers and 146.6k answer views. I once had a client ask me in about 30 different ways how confidential our sessions were. I told him quite simply that everything he said there was protected by the HIPAA Act and doctor-client privilege. The one caveat was if he told me of a desire to, or of an instance of harming himself or others. I would be required to bring it to the attention of the authorities. Dissatisfied with my answers, he found new ways to phrase his question. What if I didn't use real names? What if I left this part out? Or, it wasn't me, it was a friend. It was clear that he wanted to get something off of his chest. And working me up this much to ensure he was still protected by the law made it obvious that what he wanted to reveal was a crime.
Yeah.
This particular client was coming to see me after being appointed by the courts. He was arrested for trespassing and voyeurism, peeping Tom. I don't play detective in these situations. But I am also not going to give them extra reminders like before you tell me, make sure you don't use real names. That would make me an accomplice. No. If a patient is harming himself or others, I want to know. Somehow, he thought that by not using the real name of his victim he would be protected. He revealed to me that over the last year, he had been sexually abusing the 8-year-old daughter of his live-in girlfriend.
What?
Over the next 45 minutes, I questioned him extensively on why he did what he did. He continued to dig his own grave and explained that he couldn't help himself after viewing illegal content involving children on his home computer. This revelation gave me the legal authority to break doctor-patient confidentiality. By the time he had finished his 45-minute confessional, he admitted to the abuse of his girlfriend's daughter, of a friend of hers, to spying on neighborhood children through their windows at night, to observing illegal porn online, and that other children around him were in danger. Immediately after our session, I contacted law enforcement. During his trial, his lawyer went after me to get my license revoked. I testified at the trial, and the details of his offenses were far, far worse than what he confessed to me that day. He was sentenced to 20 years. Much lighter than he deserved in my opinion. 68.4K views, view 1.7K upvoters, view.
Cheryl, I got some insight from him yesterday, and but I don't think it's my place to really explain that. I'll let him explain it. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Lisa. I know what's going on there, but I don't think it's my place to air his laundry for him. Alright, here we're in Seligman now. A little over 60 miles away from Bellemont. That he's, I guess it's this trailer, I don't know. It could be one of my tractor tires too, but I suspect it's a trailer. I'm interested in knowing if it's going to be any better once I get that other load. Just bumpy. It kind of feels like the tires are out around or something. I had a similar feeling one time, and it turned out when I got through driving, I had a tire that had tread separated and leaking. But pretty common for trailer tires to have like little flat spots on them, and I do my pre-trips, but I'm not finding anything on the tires when I'm doing them. So if it could be something with the one or two tires, whatever. Or there could be out of round areas or flat spots, whatever, that can't be seen because of where they're positioned when I am parked. Yeah, that's it. And cell towers are obviously few and far between out here. but we do have them once in a blue moon, but they're never big. They're usually no more than the EF1s. The e-ticket rides in California, they're called earthquakes. How fitting is that? E-ticket. E even is for earthquake. Probably about the same for me, Tara. I was a little kid, though. I don't know if I even went on any e-ticket rides. I don't think I did. It wasn't until I grew up a little bit more and was not so afraid of roller coasters and stuff that I finally went on those kind of rides. Same time when I actually went when they were still using those ticket stubs. And then I think the next time we went, sometime in the 80s, they had already done away with it and went to just, you know, kind of, I remember right, it's like what they do now. One of the reasons why I don't go, and the other is it's too crowded there. I don't get why people make like the most. But I gotta admit, a few years back, Christmas, my mom ended up treating everybody, like the whole family, to and kids, I think. My wife, and our kids. Who else? Yeah, it was a big outing, and yeah, I gotta admit, it was a very fun and memorable experience. Just getting make memories with family that day. If I have to pay myself, and experiences like that, I'll take over gift giving and receiving anytime. You never know when the day will come when you're get to experience things like that with those people you love. Okay, so Cheryl, way back in the day in the 70s, Disneyland, when you got there, you had to pay for a ticket book. So they had different types of tickets, like A, B, C, D, E kind of stuff. Okay, the E was like the most thrilling rides, like the Matterhorn or Space Mountain kind of stuff. The more scary rides. And then like the A tickets were like the real easy, like kiddie kind of rides, and then stuff like that. And basically, you'd have to pull one of your tickets out of the ticket book that you bought, and you'd have to give them your e-ticket to get on the ride. So if you wanted to get on the ride more than the number of times that you had e-tickets for, you'd have to go buy another ticket book. Yeah, that reminds me. My first time ever flying. I was in college up in Idaho, and I was flying back down to Las Vegas. My parents were going to pick me up there for, when was it? Was it Thanksgiving? I can't remember if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas. I don't remember. It might have been Christmas. Yeah. Could have been Christmas, because I remember flying out of the airport there in Pocatello, and there was like a huge snowdrift. I'm like, what the hell? We're going to take off and do like 100 plus miles an hour down a runway with that there? But anyway, it was a SkyWest Airlines flight. Flew from Pocatello down to Salt Lake City. Got on another flight that went from Salt Lake City. I made a quick stop in St. George, and then continued into Las Vegas. Well, on the way into St. George, we had a lot of what's called mechanical turbulence from all the wind coming off the canyons and stuff over there. So we were getting thrown around pretty good. And of course, it's still my first time ever flying. And I remember I had kind of like this concerned look on my face when it was going on, like worried that the wings were going to fall off or something. The flight attendant who was sitting up front saw me, and she could tell I was nervous, and she tried to comfort me, like smile at me and all that kind of stuff. And then I hear the people in the seat behind me joking around, talking about, yeah, it's like an e-ticket ride. Now, it seemed like they were totally calm, like they were so used to it. So I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I shouldn't be so worried then if these guys are making a joke out of it. So, yeah, that's how well known e-tickets are for people who have experience with Disneyland back in those days. Trucks doing half a mile an hour faster than the truck next to them is quite a hot topic. Because the answer I wrote on that question, why do trucks basically go a half a mile an hour than the other one and hold us up, basically? I don't have a ton of upvotes on it, but I have a lot of views. Coming coming up on 23,000 views now on that one. That's a lot of views for one answer. To fly at a 747. I would have liked to at least check it out. I don't like doing long ass flights, but yeah, I wouldn't mind at least flying in it to see what the experience is like, I guess. My time is flying both commercial and military, having like 10, 11 hour flights. No. It gets old. I can't sleep for anything on airplanes either. So, I mean, because part of it's, I don't know, maybe the excitement of being whatever, what kind of scenery I get to look at, or just can't get comfortable. I don't know how people can sleep on airplanes. I usually sleep maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour at most, and then I'll spend the whole rest of the flight awake. So I get pretty bad jet lag when I get done with a long flight like that. You were told it was an emergency. Alright, then here's the story on that one, Cheryl. What was the reason for that, though? She must have had some kind of motive for getting you to get over there like she did. Granted, that's a pretty messed up way to do it, but... That's all it was, is she missed you and wanted to see you? Yeah, it's good that you guys can see each other, but yeah, it's not a very smart way to go about getting a meetup like that going. Did you guys end up making up, or something else happened, or for the next 15 years? I don't know if that's current 15 years since as of right now, is up to right now, or oh, okay. Sorry to hear her passing. Glad to hear you guys made up, though, on that. Yeah, it was nice to see my wife and her mom make up on something that, personal matter. I don't want to discuss her situation there, but she and her mom are kind of at odds, I guess you would say. No, they were communicating with each other, but at the same time it was very tenuous. A lot of resentment, I guess you can say. She'll probably tell you that I had a lot to do with them eventually making up, and she's got a much better relationship with her mom now, and even one of her brothers, she's got like 3 brothers, and 2 of them were kind of a cool, not cool, but I don't know how to describe that. Kind of maybe an upset with her kind of attitude, I guess, or not. And one of those brothers actually, he's gotten a lot closer to her again too. So how'd you guys end up finally coming to terms on that, Cheryl? Did one of you guys just finally realize you guys are that you're missing the other one too much, or I mean, just you realize something had to be dealt with, or she realized she really did screw up by doing that, or? For stuff like that. So I could definitely understand why there was that much of a gap when you guys where you guys were never talking to each other. Oh, okay. 15-mile marker, 35 miles out. Which put us just about half an hour, maybe a little bit more, because I'm getting slowed down by the hills. I actually thought about stopping in Flagstaff, but I want to get me a shower, and I don't want to have to pay for it, so see how the pilot Bellemont looks. Not the biggest fan of stopping there, but it's alright. I don't want to go too long without a shower. Oh wow. Who's the elder of you two? Is she older than you? Or was she older than you, whatever? Trucks getting held up by me. One of them, the back one is finally trying to work his way up now. But now he's going to hold up a four-wheeler. Because it's taking him a while to... He's about side by side with the truck that's behind me now. And now I'm starting to gain speed. geared right for the. It's a more shallow grade that we're on now. But he's definitely still. That could be possible YouTube footage for that Cora answer to add a little flavor to it. Now we finally dropped behind the Volvo. J brakes only are for when you're going downhill and trying to control speed. I'm going uphill right now. I'm not really sure what noise you're hearing. Are you telling me you're hearing like that fan? My engine fan, something it tends to kick on and off when I'm going uphill to try to help keep the engine cool. That sound right there, right? If it's that sound you're hearing now, it's the fan. Trucks with Packard engines on them have a different sound in the. That's a good question. Yes, shut the throttle just a bit. 30 miles out. What did you miss, Lisa? I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't have missed it. Yeah, there's not even a lane stripe there. Why are you going off? Talking is the reason why it's buffering. Okay, so let's see. One of the things I'd mentioned was I was talking earlier about Scotty's truck, how it has a Detroit diesel engine in it, and mine has a Packard, and my truck has an engine. Let's see, I think I was also talking about how I want to stop in Flagstaff, but I want a shower too, and I don't want to pay for it. That's why I'm planning to stop in Bellemont. I should just stop talking. Williams, 5 miles. Grand Canyon, Junction 7. Catching up. Yeah, I gotta find them first. There are so many trees here and so much, so little. Oh, is that a little cell tower or is that something else? Some little thing right here in the median. Drive, west side of Williams. We get to have fun looking at the Grand Canyon Railroad over here again, and yeah, I'm gonna take a good look at that windshield wiper when I stop. It drives me nuts. On the side of his truck. What on earth is that thing on the right side of your truck, Volvo driver? Probably doesn't have a radio or something. Half these guys don't. Well, tires, I think, is probably the trailer. And I'm not finding any unserviceable conditions, so it's kind of one of those, just got to deal with it. But I'm going to find out that when I do that swap tomorrow, and I find out it does the same thing, then I'd be a little more apt to think it could be one of my tractor tires. If the problem goes away when I get to the other trailer, then it's going to be it's very likely the trailer problem. Now, I'm about to go back to the Grand Canyon. It's been so many years since I've been there. I was a kid last time I went there. Now Dora's wanting to go over there. There's a real cell phone tower there, Lisa. Grand Canyon Railroad right here. The Railroad Museum, whatever you want to call this. Got a fire burning over there, but it's looks like a controlled burn. Small one. One of these days I'll have to go a little bit off course, and when I have a time under a load to work with, and I'm not necessarily in a hurry. Go stop at that meteor crater. Check it out. Miles to go. that was having a hard time getting by me on earlier. Might be getting a chance to pass me. I'm only doing 64, but I'm just staying, basically pacing the guys in front of me, so. Now he's going. Don't think I've heard of you guys. My truck's governed at 70. Some other people have different speeds that they're governed at. And then other trucks are not governed at all. Can't give you a cookie cutter answer to that question, because even trucks that are not governed, they might be geared different ways and be capable of different speeds. Hey, Marty. What part of Arizona are you at? You like in Tucson or something? Or Phoenix? I'm in Arizona right now, and I'm going to be shut down up here in Bellemont, which is less than 20 miles away. Next activity we can do is after we get through with counting fake versus ice, says buffering. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, I actually used to be stationed in Tucson myself. Break, and it looked like there was some moisture coming up through the Sea of Cortez, and it looked like it was going to cover pretty much all of a pretty good chunk of Arizona. And also getting winter storm warnings up here on this end for tomorrow and Thursday. The cell phone towers, the reason we're talking about there is a lot of the cell towers in California, or especially my part of Southern Cal, a lot of them are disguised as trees and other objects because they think the regular cell towers are too unsightly, so they want them to blend a little bit better with the surroundings. So you'll see a lot of them in my area that are that look like palm trees or pine trees or whatever else, or even other objects. Like I saw one yesterday in Palmdale where it was looked like a water tower, and I went over over by the March Air Force Base Air Museum where I used to work, or work by, that one, there's like this white tower. This guy's coming out. The white tower at the actual museum. It looks like a decorative tower, but what is this stupid thing? What the hell's my Qualcomm doing now? Alright. But anyway, the tower is actually a cell phone tower. It's just disguised as a decorative display thing for the museum. That basically Verizon made a deal with the museum where they make it look like that to help advertise their museum as well, and at the same time Verizon gets their use out of it. Definitely raining more here. I don't think I saw the one this guy says that's a waddle. Where'd you see that, Tara? Was it over on I-10 somewhere? Yeah, at the 174 right now, so about 11 miles out. Down to 48 degrees, which is about 9 degrees Celsius now. Be a sweater weather situation here. Now. Get some water off my driver's windshield here, driver's door here. Sometimes water accumulates on my driver's door window and makes it hard for me to see my mirror. Covenant, you're going to be a problem. I've got 10 miles left. This guy, then I got looks like a white, what is that, Jeep Cherokee or something coming up. Or is that, I don't even know if that's a Jeep. Compass. Okay, it is a Jeep, but it's a Compass. Cave Creek. I'm trying to remember where it's at. I keep wanting to say it's like, east of Benson or something. Oh, okay. Pretty good here. Not enough gap between Covenant and the truck in front of him for, well, actually now it might be changing. Without the rain, I'm not worried about it. 8 miles away and it looks like it's abating now. I got another truck coming up pretty fast. So I'll hang out here and wait and see. Wait for him to go by. Got a four-wheeler right behind me. Looks like it might be a pickup. Hard to tell. Okay, this guy's a dovetail truck coming Yeah, watering the grass is how it gets green. What eye is Cave Creek off of? It sounds familiar, I just don't remember exactly where it's at. Like that trailer right there, I think they call it a rollback or something, or a dovetail, where I think the tires can roll forward or something like that, where so the back end of the trailer can actually squat down onto the ground. Okay. One's east of one's I-17. Is that now over by, what's that town called? It starts with a P. Because I sometimes go that way from that basically 77, 277 and all that over and over to 87. Basically the route that goes from Holbrook over to Mesa. I was actually thinking about going that way tomorrow because I'm going to be swapping this load out tomorrow in Gallup, and I'll be picking the load I'll be inheriting will be coming back over to Tolleson. Now I like going that way once in a while, particularly if I have a lighter load. And especially if I'm going westbound. But now if I'm going to Tolleson, I'm less likely to want to go that way because then I'll have to deal with downtown Phoenix. So with that load there, I'll probably be a little more apt to just come over to 17 and then come down 17 and then take Loop 101 around over to the west side of town. But when I get loads that go to, like I said, Casa Grande or somewhere, I tend to actually take that cutoff over there, Brick and me. It actually takes just as long to go that way as it does to take 17, even though 17 is, I want to say like a good, if I'm not mistaken, about 60 miles longer. Can't remember the exact distance, but it's definitely, it's a longer route to go to, to use Flagstaff. No, that's at least 6. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check the weather also. Because winter storm warning's here for tomorrow and Thursday, and I'm gonna let's see, it's 3:40 right now, so I'll say about 1600, so 2600. That would be 2 a.m. Now that would be the earliest I'd be able to get rolling again, and I still have to get over to Gallup and do the swap, and that's assuming the other driver will actually be there already. And then I'll have to come back. It's 160 miles for, no, actually 180 from, 180 from, from here to the New Mexico line, and then it's another 16 from there to where the TA is, where I'm swapping. So it's at about 190. Yeah, 190, and then it'll be another about 180 back. So that's about a 370 mile trip just to get back to Flagstaff. And another 140 from Flagstaff to Tolleson. Tell me the exit's open. Yeah, Looks like it is. So about a 510 mile shift is what it sounds like it's going to be, which is actually a pretty easy shift. I've done 596 right now, and I could go, and I still have 42 minutes left on my clock, and a good chunk of today, about 400 miles of today was spent in California. Good is the parking going to be here? Because this hour it's not unusual to find a lot of trucks parked for their 30-minute breaks. Can't really tell yet. Why do I not remember this pilot having McDonald's? I know they were doing some renovations over here a while back. Thanks for a turn signal, asshole. Could have turned earlier, but... Oh yeah, I can see someone else got impatient with you too. You see that? Got a lollygag and doesn't have turn signals or anything. If I don't find good parking here, I don't have a problem with continuing to Little America Travel Center and Flagstaff. Again, I'd much rather be where I can have a shower and not have to pay for it either. There's another truck trying to come out of the lot over there, so I will come through here. Do a pretend refuel. Even though I don't need fuel. Ah, is that an opening right there? I have an open spot here I can back into. This will be a good one. If it is open. Yep, it's open. Alright, so probably a little bit of a modified. It won't be a straight back, but okay. 2 spots over. Hopefully I can. Yeah, looks good. I gotta watch the ICC bar on this guy here. I am clear. Ah man, I was almost at a chance, but I needed just a little bit more on my setup. Yeah, a little more than that. There you go. Oh sure, now you decide you're gonna pull out. Light post over on the right side I gotta watch for now. I'm clear of it. Go all the way to the back of my spot. I'm not even worried about that thing. Status changed, and I got 10 incoming messages. I already know what some of them are, but man, most of them are either you're speeding in California or swap related. So let's see what I got here. many tracks indicates that you may be exceeding the posted speed limit. Ask me if I care. Sometimes I get those and I'm not even speeding. Please be reminded that Florida is a high theft area. But if you're going to be out of your truck at any time, please contact dispatch first to discuss secure locations and safety measures that need to be taken. I'm not worried about it. Alright. Yes, I will be swapping with 3729A. ASAP tomorrow at the TA in Gallup. Okay, it looks like this guy has a Tulsa area, Tulsa area phone number on him, so I'll end up giving this person a call to see where they're at. Let's see. 3729A. Let's see if I've seen that truck before. Get my handy dandy JCT truck notepad thing here on my phone, and no, I have not seen that truck before. At least I have not written it and documented it as being seen before. Okay. So I don't know what kind of truck that is. Based on the truck number, it's very close to Scotty's truck. It's probably a Freightliner. Yeah, it's Scotty's truck's, I think 3726, if I remember right. This guy got to deal with FedEx over here. Dot line transport pulling a FedEx trailer. Now, Dot line, they usually have their own trailers, but they must have like a dedicated account or something, or whatever with FedEx, or they do a lot of business with FedEx. Alright. Okay, that driver repowering you will get to swap tomorrow. We'll leave you a load to Tolleson. For 1121 at 0400. Okay. I didn't quite understand that. That wasn't the most well written, I guess. But yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. If it's only going to be, let's see, what did I say, 370 to get from here to Gallup back to Flagstaff, and another 140 from Flag down to Tolleson, so it's only about a 510 mile shift. That's only, I can do 510 miles in 8 hours. I'd probably expect it might take about 10, so yeah, and if I leave here about 2 in the morning, assuming the other driver's already in Gallup when I get there, it'd put me in, I would say, in Tolleson by midday or so tomorrow. For AB5, I've not heard anything at all yet from JCT about that yet. I am curious to know how they're going to handle it. I hope I hope that a bunch of truckers and owner ops, they've already sued the state of California over that, and I'm hoping maybe it'll get to a court where a judge will stay it or something and say, no, you guys can't enforce this until it's been resolved in the courts or something first. And that would be really nice to see, but I don't know if that will actually happen. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in knowing what's going on with that, because it'll definitely affect me and of course Scotty as well, since we both live in Cali. Glad Scotty made it this morning, and a guy back in too fast hit the building. Video on. Wow, he got that on his video of. Was that when he was docking in Tracy or somewhere else? A couple of companies had put out the word move domicile or don't take loads into or out of California. Okay, my understanding with that AB5 issue is if you're a California-based driver, you can bring loads into California, but you're not allowed to take loads from California and out to somewhere else. So I had heard a rumor about what they might be at least looking into doing, but it's just rumor, and I've not heard anything about them actually doing it. I don't really want to kind of spread the rumor, and I don't know, and it's all speculation. Not even sure if there's even a serious thought, or if it's just something that just kind of got thrown out on the table and up for discussion. Yeah, that's nice here, England. Go ahead, teach your trainee not to back. So they pull up right here. I'm sure there are spots in the row behind me. I don't know if they just could be switching places or whatever, or I'd be telling the guy, I don't know if these guys are just teammates or one's a trainer, one's a trainee, but that's one of the things I hate with a lot of trainers. They don't like to take the time to teach the trainees to back. And that's a very important part about learning how to drive a truck, is being able to learn how to back. Alright, the guy hit the dog. Okay, yeah, that sometimes does happen. Now, the back of the trailer is designed to make contact with the building, so it's definitely a more beefy. You're less likely to cause damage on anything. You might have problems with I might break the bump pads and stuff on the door. I've seen, and if there are any pads missing, I've actually seen the side of the building get damaged a little bit. Back of the trailer down. Usually people don't hit that hard. I mean, I've hit kind of hard at times, but it's still nothing serious. But no, I think you guys have seen. Yeah, I've seen it quite a few times. That one video of the. What is that? Is it a Piggly Wiggly truck or some grocery chain truck? I thought, or at the grocery chain's DC, and I think someone was backing in, and you could see them like you swear the guy was drunk or on some kind of drugs or something, and like what the hell was this guy thinking? I think he hit both of the trailers next to him, and then kept slamming it into the back of into the dock door as well. Let me check. Okay, yeah, that's good enough for on. Come on. I don't think I need the engine idle. I like to let the engine idle a little bit for when I shut down and I'm done for the day, because I think it helps the turbo cool down a little bit more gradually instead of suddenly, and it's less prone to cracks and other problems. Yeah, no, that one I'm talking about there, where the guy that has to be like, I would think that guy was at least like 0.3 BAC or something, like seriously wasted in doing that. Yeah, I've seen that one so many times. I've had so many people send it to me just to, hey, have you seen this yet? Charger lost last night, and guy broke the TV. It was yeah, we sometimes do get passionate about our games, don't we? I can't say I've never broken something or gotten all crazy over whether it be the Eagles, Lakers, Dodgers, or whoever. Okay, so this one I already read, and just so you guys are aware, we're working on another swap to follow this one. The plan will be you do this swap in Gallup, then run it to Tolleson ASAP tomorrow, and swap with another driver there. That will give you a load to Fontana that is due at 6 a.m. on the 21st. That driver needs Florida and can't go all the way to Cali and get back in time for home time. So you could grab the Arizona load from you there in Tolleson, deliver it, and they plan them to Florida. Would that work? So, yeah, I already mentioned, talked about that one. Suspect steals lottery tickets from Joe's Liquor in Victorville. Okay. Okay, this is one I've already seen, and I don't think I saw that. I read completely through the other one, but it's kind of the same thing here. After you swap for the Arizona load, head toward Tolleson. I just got you set up for another swap there to take a load over to Fontana. Blah blah. It keeps you moving, and Will was saying you wanted back to Cali. This gets you there. It also saves a Tyson load and puts the other driver in a better place to get a load headed home for Thanksgiving. Okay, so what is going on there with me wanting to get back to Cali? Normally, I don't really care where I run. I go wherever, anywhere. I don't. But when I'm starting to run low on hours, and I already know I'm on a load I can't deliver on time myself because of the hour situation, and I'm going to get swapped out. I figured, well, might as well swap out with somebody who's got a load going to Cali, and then I can maybe make maximum use of my hours, get as far out as I can, and still be able to get a Cali-bound load back into Cali, go deliver the Cali load, and then maybe do a 34-hour reset from there, because I'm going to run out of hours pretty quick. I have, which I'll get to that in a little bit here. Get rid of these other. You need to send your evening reefer status check. And these OmniTrack speeding messages. Who does that? Okay, I'll show you what my hour situation is like here in a second. Alright, so yeah, I got 2 more days. Wrong camera. Okay. Tonight, I get nothing at all back. Tomorrow night, I get nothing at all back. Okay, I ran just under 600 miles tonight, today. Okay, I'm down to 20 hours and 18 minutes left. So basically I have 10 hours per day left that I can work with. So by the time I get through swapping this next load and then taking another load over to Fontana, I'll probably be down to probably like 3, somewhere between 3 and 5 hours left if I have to take a wild guess. So pretty productive. See there. Yesterday wasn't so productive, and that was because I spent a lot of that time in the dock doors, and my 14 was ran out to nothing when I still had over, I think, 3.5 hours left on my drive clock. But yeah, pretty good miles overall still. I'd have to add it up on my, I'll do it on my spreadsheet. Can probably estimate or something. But alright, that's it. Let's see, it's right at about 4 p.m. now, and I've only been off for 5 minutes, so yeah, that put me about 2 a.m. when I can go back on duty. I'm gonna call this other driver up. Oh yeah, James, you're talking about from the other day. Yeah, no, that one is when I got home. I wasn't planning on driving that far, and I didn't think I could get that many miles out of a load, out of a shift when 190 of those miles were in California. Yeah, and I was only doing 60 miles an hour the whole time. I never did go above that. So I've done 700, a couple of 718s, and I did a 730 like a week before on one shift. But those were all where California was never involved. I was able to run 70 miles an hour the entire time. So. Correct. I do not have the same DM as Scotty. I forget which one he has though. I have Shay. I keep in regular communication with her also on my ETAs and PTAs. So as early as I can, I let her know, hey, I'll be ready to reload at such and such time. So now I know Scotty's been getting some good miles this week, it seems. I know he said he ran a 650 some odd mile shift yesterday when he ended in Spark, or I think I had to stop watching his feed when he made that stop at the rest area over by Lovelock, off where US 95 and I-80 meet up. But I remember him saying something about he was going to have a 650 mile shift by the time he finished. So that's that's a good shift. I usually I'm fine with running 600, 650 and be happy, because usually my normal routine is as soon as I get 10 hours, does, usually by that point, once I'm at 10 hours, I'll stop. It could be the soonest location convenient. If I don't need a shower, like I think I was talking about this earlier, but I know some of you guys weren't online. Some of these I will, as soon as I get near 10, I might stop like right there, like 5 miles away or something. And any truck stop that just works. Unless I have some real ulterior motive, like the 702 that I did the other day. I had an ulterior motive. I was originally planning on only getting to Barstow from Route 66 Travel Center. And then I started realizing on the second half of my shift that I had the time to work with to get all the way home. So, like, well, shit, right? Why stop in Barstow? If I have the time to get home, then I'm going to just go ahead and get home. So, my friend can drive 600 to 800, I think. Yeah. Now, I've done 800 plus mile 24-hour shifts, and that's what this is. The 8-day, it doesn't go by shifts. It goes by calendar time. So, now, probably isn't too much there. Well, I don't know how much I've done there that overlapped midnight, but I've had some where, I see, my top calendar day hours, I think, was 8:54. Which I don't even know how I did that, but, and then you have to be running super efficient, not necessarily 70 miles an hour and all that, but 10-hour break has to be exactly 10 hours, and then 30-minute break has to be exactly 30 minutes. And also, the only way you can do that with a 70-mile-an-hour truck is if your shifts overlap midnight, which, of course, most of the time I do tend to drive on both sides of midnight. So I'll get a pretty good chunk of miles on let's say on the second half of a shift. And then when I'm done with that shift, I do a 10-hour break, and then I start another shift right at the end of my 10-hour break, and it's still the same day. So the first part of the next shift will be on the same day. So that's how you can end up having more miles in a day than what you can mathematically even do in an 11-hour shift at 70 miles an hour, which of course is 770 is the mathematical limit for a shift. So I've done 802, 820, 854 and all that, but it's not often at all. And more often than not, there has to be a real need for that. Like maybe I'm running super tight on the schedule where I can't afford to take longer than necessary breaks. And then also have to have traffic conditions cooperate too. So, nah. I just do me, someone was just talking about, I was just posting about that in the JCT group on Facebook this week. They had a concern about drivers talking about the amount of miles that they're getting on a shift. Kind of like it came across as like bragging and all that. And I guess in a way, watching this Volvo drivers. Yeah, he had lots of room over there. His trailer. But he was swinging extra wide, and CR England was kind of affecting the way he wanted to swing around, I think. But okay, yeah, and I can understand it's a valid concern. Where maybe it might come across as people bragging about what they do. So that's why I try to be careful about posting that kind of stuff myself, because I know how some people might, not like it or something and feel like they feel like I'm getting more preferential treatment than them, or whoever knows what else. I like it though also when I see other people posting it, because it tells me I'm not the only one who's getting those kind of miles, or who runs runs hard like that or something. So yeah, that's the other way I look at it. A lot of people don't get miles, and it's because they don't run that hard. A lot of times they don't run very hard, or they take extra long breaks, or let's say, good example would be Actually, that last load. The load between the load I just delivered yesterday and the load that I just picked up that I have behind me right now. Yeah, that 702. I got all the way to Victorville. Okay, if I'd ran a normal like 500, whatever kind of thing every shift, then I wouldn't have been anywhere near Colton by the time it was time to deliver. I would have had to run probably a good 300-400 miles to get from wherever my last break was to Colton. And then by the time I get to Colton and deliver, or no, I went to Ontario. My bad. So if I'd gotten to Ontario, it would have been much later in the shift, and it would have been at a point in time where I would have had no choice but to take another 10-hour break before, I more than likely need another 10-hour break before I can reload again. But instead, what happened? I ran hard. Where did I pick up at? That was the Bounceville one, wasn't it? Now I'm forgetting, so. Or no, I swapped. Yeah, remember? Okay, yeah, I did Plainview. I did the load to Plainview. And then after I got through delivering in Plainview, I'd picked up in Cactus. And then I ran it straight from, I went from Amarillo up to Cactus. Burned about 6 hours of my 14 just waiting for the load to be ready. And then ended up in, that's when I ended up at Route 66. And then that next shift, I ran it all the way from there, all the way to Barstow. Or actually to Victorville. And that one, I actually considered it just stopping in maybe even like Lake Havasu. Well, no, not Lake Havasu. Would have been only about 500 miles, barely under 500 miles there. And I always want to at least get 500, if nothing else. So, but yeah, just running it further. Yeah, I only had to burn about an hour off my 14-hour clock, or just a little bit over, between when I started my shift and when I got to my receiver. And then, of course, I burnt a little bit of my 14 waiting for them to unload me. But I was still very early in the shift, and that put me in a position where I was able to still go ahead and head up to, I keep thinking Danuba, but it's not. It's Delano. Delano to get that load picked up, and then continue from there up to Sanger to get the other half of the load. Now, if I hadn't run harder the previous shift and put myself in a position where I had a lot more time on my 14 to work with when it was time to deliver, I wouldn't have been able to pick this load up. I would have had to sit an extra 10 hours. And that's where a lot of times people lose out on their miles, is the way they run their own shifts. If you run a little bit more relaxed pace like that, then, now you can still get plenty of good miles running 500-mile shifts. I've done it. But you're also going to get more into the run and recap situation too, I think. And you might get a little more spread out. What's the last time you drove a pup trailer? I've never pulled a pup trailer before. I understand the physics of it very well because of when I was an aircraft mechanic. I kind of learned. This is how I kind of learned about how much different the physics of a pup trailer is versus pulling or pushing a pup trailer versus a 53-footer. I was an aircraft mechanic working on C-130s when I was in the Air Force, actually over in Marty's neck of the woods, over in Tucson at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. We had a long tow bar and a short tow bar. And I noticed, like, whenever I tow the airplanes with a long tow bar, it took a lot more action on the tractor, on the tug to get the aircraft to react to it. But then once it got reacting, it was a lot easier to catch back up to it. Let's say if you overdid something, you could go back the other direction and chase it down and a lot more easily. Now with the shorter tow bar, it didn't take so much movement to get the aircraft to start reacting to it, and it was a lot harder to catch back up to the aircraft and keep it from from getting to your steer from your steer limit, which you can't. You're not supposed to jackknife aircraft. Usually they only go about 60 degrees before you. There's usually a line on the bottom of the fuselage that indicates where the steer limit is, and that's one of the things we'd watch out for. Is, make sure that the steer tire doesn't go past that black line there. And well, something with a short tow bar though, it'd be really quick to. The aircraft would try to get there really quickly on you, and you'd have a lot harder time getting back over in front of the aircraft, so it would stop steering on you. And a lot of times, if you overdid it, you'd have to back up, back your tractor, the tug up, and of course, counter steer, whatever, to straighten it back out. Brake, the nose wheel stops. Yeah. Well, it puts extra tension on the landing, basically like on the shock struts and steering components and all that. And then now you got me thinking with when I worked on C-141s. Trying to remember if this was involved with it. Yeah, I think if someone had turned the tiller too far, or the tires turned too far. Okay, now on C-141s. There's basically two sides of the steering control. I've got the first side where the control, basically from the tiller wheel, it comes down to basically comes down to a paddle. There's basically a cable driven thing that comes down to a paddle, and there's another paddle that goes underneath it. That so when they move together like that, the bottom half it moves the linkage that. The cables that actually turn the steer axle, the steer tires themselves, or nose gear tires as we call it. But there were a couple times where I have seen where I think usually when the steering, when the tires got turned too far, where one of them actually got flipped. So when they're supposed to be flat against each other like that, one of them would actually flip all the way over, and there'd be a gap, and we'd have to fix it. And they would lose control of the nose steering when that happened too. And then they'd have to use the rudder pedals or the differential brakes and stuff and rudder pedals to do anything. I don't think rudder pedals even worked, if I remember right. It's been a while since I worked on 141s. We retired ours in 04, 03 or 04, I think. Yeah. Somewhere around that ballpark, and then ended up replacing them with C-17s. But on pup trailers, let's see. Now, Andrew, I think you're saying you're just driving straight vans right now, right? Are you getting trained on, or do you have experience at all on articulated vehicles like trucks with pup trailers, or what's going on with that? Marty, you sound like you got aircraft experience too. I'm interested in what's everybody's pulling away from me. The guy in the spot next to me left, and the guy in this spot over on the other side of me is leaving right now. Drive mostly 28 foot since I'm starting. My school trained me in a 42. Okay, excellent. So are you getting a pretty good idea how much different the experience is between both turning at intersections as well as backing is concerned on those? 28 footers, I don't know what the kingpin to rear, or I should say axle, since pups only have one axle on them. Now, normally the kingpin to the front of the trailer is usually about 3 feet, so it'd be about 25 feet. And then I think normally the rear axle, when it's all the way back like that, would be about 3 more feet away from the back of the trailer. So I'm guessing, now I don't have any pup trailer experience. I'm guessing your kingpin to axle dimension there would be about 22 feet. And then the 42, so that'd be at least 6 feet, so 36 feet would sound like it'd be your kingpin to rear axle dimension on a 42 footer. Spent a couple of decades in general aviation, pilot, CFI, sales, fuel, etc. Nice. All right. Yeah, I knew you had some kind of aircraft background there, Marty. You definitely you have to sound like you definitely know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that stuff. And like differential braking and thrust. Yeah, usually if I said that around a lot of other people, they're like, "Huh? What does that mean?" So yeah, it's cool seeing someone actually use those terms themselves, and yeah, I can tell that you know what you're talking about with that. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna research that, but okay, now they're teaching now with turns, the kingpin to your axle dimension has a lot to do with how much space you need to make your turns. So a 53-foot trailer now, if you ever do training on a 53-foot trailer, they'll teach you it's about 40 feet. It's not necessarily 40 feet though. It depends on where your tandems are actually positioned. So my trailer here, if it's at the California setting, at the 40-foot California setting, then it's 40 feet. If I have them all the way back, then I'm actually at about 47 feet. Yeah, actually, so it is. If the tires on those other trailers are about the same size as the trailers on the tires on my trailers, it should be about 3 feet from the axle to the back of the trailer, and then 3 feet from the kingpin to the front of the trailer. But I think I have heard of some cases where the kingpin's only 2 feet away from the front. So gotta watch out for that kind of stuff. It really helps to know that. And speaking of that, it's good, definitely important to know these dimensions. And a good way to know if you know you're working with a 28-foot trailer and you want to know what your kingpin to rear axle dimension is, just take 28 feet and then subtract whatever the distance is from the kingpin to the front of the trailer, or the header board, as we might call it. And then, so that'll leave you a certain amount. It should be about 3 feet, maybe 2, but I think it'll be 3. So that gives you 25 feet left. And then do another measurement from the axle or the rear axle if it has tandems, and measure from there to the back of the trailer, basically the ICC bar, and then subtract that from the 25. So that should leave you about 22 feet, I think, on that. And whatever that dimension is basically how much feet you need available to work with. So now I don't have pup trailer experience, and I don't watch them that closely on turns, but 22 feet kind of tells me you can probably start. Now a regular street lane on a major artery street is about 12 feet wide, and you might have a shoulder of about 3 to 5 feet or something along that line. Ideally. So if you have 12 feet on the street you're coming from, and then 12 feet on the street you're going to, that's 24 feet. So you have the space there plus about a couple of feet, but you really want to have, I always say, look to have at least about a 4-foot extra buffer. So, so if you need 22 feet, I would plan on needing at least 26. So I guess, if you have a shoulder to work with, then you should be able to make a turn where your tractor probably can go right into the next lane, into the first lane available to you on the next street. With the 42 footer though, if it's now, if I assume it's at 36 feet then you need 36 feet of space, and that's 3 full lanes. And that's assuming the lanes are 12 feet wide, and assuming that you have 4-foot wide shoulders on both streets. If you have less room, like say yesterday when I was making that right turn up in Sanger, after I got past the high school, that's one where I actually had to stop and counter steer, but I needed to wait for the left turn traffic on the street I was going on to vacate the space first before I could use their space, because and I only ran into that problem because the traffic behind me and on the left kept trying to pass me and creating an unsafe situation for me there. I didn't have much choice but to do like a jug handle turn over there, and they were still trying to go around me, and I have a lot of concerns there. Didn't have enough space to work with, and I was getting really close to hitting the traffic light there at the corner, and so I stopped and just waited for the traffic to clear, and then countersteered and got around it. So definitely important to watch that. I will be posting that one probably today. I do have it on my tablet already. I just got to kind of do the editing on it and all that. So, Marty, to answer your question about why I didn't go into aviation maintenance after the Air Force, I was actually considering it. Now, I was also kind of burnt out on some of the bullshit with management and all that. But I actually did I did interview once for General Atomics over in Palmdale. I did not get that position, and then there was another one that I applied for, and they wanted to do a phone interview with me, but then at the same time, I was like, okay, it was a tool room position. I didn't want to work in a tool room. I mean, it would have been a good stepping stone, I'm sure, but I just didn't feel like working in tool crib, and and then having to work my way out, and and I would have been working on drones there. I don't know shit about drones, but I guess it could have been interesting. But between that and I just kind of just thinking, what if I were to change change the scenery or whatever? And I started thinking, I've always been a big fan of driving. I love driving adventures. Even when I'd go on TDYs in the Air Force, if it was a stateside TDY, chances are I'd try to drive just because I liked it. I don't have a problem at all with flying. I enjoy flying. I even went and did private pilot training for a bit until my medical problem stopped me from doing that. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2002, and I just never got around to finishing the training. So I love pretty much everything about going to. It was like Eric Wildman just messaged me and said he got a load going from Cactus to Colton. All right, so I don't know where he's gonna. I'm gonna have to find out where he's gonna end up. But so that's kind of how I got into trucking and left aviation maintenance. Not to mention I didn't have my A&P license. I just kind of never bothered to get it. Why, I don't know. Kind of dumb, I guess, but at the same time, I don't regret it because I thoroughly enjoy what I'm doing here. I love being able to see different scenery, kind of work at my own pace. Hey, as long as the load gets delivered on time, that's all that matters. All right, we'll see you later, Lisa. Yeah. Well, the tires, like I say, it might be the trailer tires, and they might be out around. I can't do anything about that. If I can't see problems with them, then I can't fix them. But now the tractor, I know I think it's my left rear tractor tire. It is kind of getting a little on the beat up side. Not worn, but it's getting there. That could be also it. I'm gonna wait till I get that other trailer from the other driver though, and see how it works out. But I don't have regrets about getting into trucking at all and leaving aviation, because there are things I do regret about aviation maintenance though. I mean, about leaving that. Because it is a lot of fun working as a team with people, and getting the job done, troubleshooting problems with aircraft, or getting big jobs done, and just the camaraderie you get, and just the friendly trash talking and stuff we all do. You got to have thick skin when you do that kind of work, as you know. So I had a great time with that too. But then with this, I can do whatever at my own pace. If I feel like, if I'm having a kind of just not feeling so productive kind of day, then I can be not so productive, as long as I leave myself in a position where I can still deliver my loads on time and pick up my loads on time. Otherwise, I mean, I do what I want. So that's one of the, and then the scenery. Always having something new to look at, and I love the adventure. So, there were times I actually wondered why I didn't get into this when I first got out of high school, when I was 21 and thinking about joining the Air Force. I can imagine how much fun I could have had making money, just not having any obligations, no house, no place to even worry about paying for, no family or anything like that. Hell, yeah, probably could have made a lot. But on the other hand, it's I don't have any regrets about how I did get to this where I'm at now either. So, that's about it. Okay, now if Andrew, I don't know if you're still on here. I haven't seen any comments from you recently, but we're going back to the 42-foot trailers. Now remember, it's 42 feet is three 12-foot wide lanes plus an extra, because you need 36 feet, so that's 3 full lanes, and then plus your 4-foot buffer. So that would be somewhere in the same ballpark as what I would need with the 53. Because at the California setting, it's 40 feet, so it's 4 feet more. I would just need a little bit more than what you'd need on a 42-foot trailer, I would think. Again, I've never pulled a 42 though, so I'm just speculating based on what I know of how you're supposed to figure out space when you're turning with a 53-footer. All right, I'm gonna get rolling, get going here. Let's see, it'll be 2 in the morning local time. It's probably, unless I need to get a hold of this other driver, see when he's gonna be in Gallup, or he or she, whoever it is. I may end up leaving here later if they say they won't be in Gallup until later on. But for me, it's on 190 miles, so it's about not quite 3-hour drive from here. So I could potentially be there about 5 or so in the morning. It'd still be dark, so yeah, I don't have doubles endorsement. I like the back trailer, so I just never felt I never took a desire in pulling wiggle wagons, as we call them. So I don't like. If you get into a bad situation and where you have to back up, you're gonna have a really difficult time because you got 3 pivot points on doubles. Yeah, it's something a lot of people love it. Prefer doubles. LTL freight, as we might call it, in most of that cases. But I like, and I got into reefers because it's a more economically secure part of the economy, of the industry, I should say. So if the economy starts turning south, I'm less likely to lose my job or need to look at move elsewhere to less desirable freight areas or something, because let's say like flatbed, that's very cyclical. They rely heavily on military, farming, and construction equipment, in particular. But then also, so construction, it could be construction vehicles, it could be the materials that they use to build buildings or whatever else. So those are the bread and butter industries that flatbed truckers rely on. Now of course, the economy turns south, and who gets hurt? Construction. Businesses quit expanding, so they aren't paying for construction projects anymore. So construction takes a big hit, and when that takes a big hit, flatbedders also do. So I have a relative that pulls doubles for Old Dominion. Yeah, man, Old Dominion, like, they're all over the place in my area. They have a terminal right there in Bloomington, basically right up Riverside Avenue, practically, from the Walmart DC in Colton. If you go just west of Riverside Avenue on Slover, which is the very first street south of I-10, the next street over is Lilac. They have a terminal over there. For LTL trucks in my area, oh man, I think I see Old Dominion more than anybody else. I also see a pretty good number of Saya, FedEx. My wife especially sees FedEx a lot and hates them. She says they're a bunch of assholes when she's trying to get on the road. She always feels like they're speeding up to intentionally not let her into the space in front of them. But I told her, those guys are usually governed. They probably aren't speeding up. And I found out myself from watching people getting on the freeway when I'm sitting at a governed speed that they tend to let off the throttle when they're looking over their shoulder to see if it's safe to come over. And a lot of people don't know that. So they might be at the same speed as you, and then when they go to look over to their left side, they are also subconsciously letting their foot off the throttle, and the car slows down. And then now it's even more of a problem. So something for you guys who don't drive trucks. It's a really good... All right, we'll see you later, Marty. Yeah, something to really watch for when you're looking over your shoulder. Pay extra close attention to if you really are doing that. You'd be surprised. A lot of people do that and don't even realize they're doing it. And they think they're going the same speed, but in actuality, they're slowing themselves down. All right. There's enough ramble chatter there, I guess. I'm gonna give the other driver a call, find out what time I'm gonna need to meet with them in Gallup, and don't know if I'll end up meeting later on, in the morning, whatever. I'll go ahead and stream the first part, I think. If not, I'll probably wait till I do the swap first, and then kind of wait till just before sun comes out, or when it's already out or something, where a little more scenery to look at. I might go live then. So we'll definitely post that turn, and I'm gonna have shots of because my dash cam here, my Garmin, that pointing at me, so you can see which way I'm looking at stuff and which way I'm turning the steering wheel too. So that'll help. All right, so all right, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll maybe working on that video this afternoon. So all right, we'll see you guys later.